Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information, of course, come from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History,
Historical calendar,
and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the box below, the description, the underbar, whatever it is it's called anymore. Anyway, I am Xander.
I am me.
And today is Moon's Day, also known as Monday, April 25th, 2022.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm me because unless you want this thing removed, I can't say that name. It's Spanish for something naughty.
Oh, okay. Why don't you start us off here?
404 BC. Damn, that's 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, 2004 to 25.
Yep.
Admiral Lancer and King Parthena of Sparta blockade Athens and bring the Peloponnesian War to a successful conclusion. Of course, the fucking Spartans would.
Yep. Back in the old days, if you wanted to end a war, get the Spartans involved. They're like the ancient, super weapon. Jumping on up into 775, the Battle of Bagraven put an end to an Armenian rebellion against the Abbasid Caliphate. Muslim control over the South Caucasus was solidified, and its Islamization began, while several major Armenian Nakahar families lost power and their remnants fled to the Byzantine Empire. Are you okay? What's going on? Sohan, are you there? What was that? You're breathing heavily into the mic.
I'm holding the mic with my mouth, and I'm scratching something.
Ah. Okay.
Right up here.
Alright, what happened in 799?
799 after treatment and disfigurement by the citizens of Rome, Pope Leo III pleads to the Frankish court of King Charlemagne at Paderborn for protection.
In 1134, the name Zagreb was mentioned for the first time in the Fallacian Charter relating to the establishment of the Zagreb Bishopric around 1094. Interesting.
Ooh, Bishopric.
Bishopric. What is the Zagreb Bishopric? Let's see here. Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Zagreb. Okay, so it has something to do with Roman Catholicism, I think. I'm not going to look through this to see how this is relevant, so I'm just going to add this to the underbar for anybody who is interested. Anyway, what happened in 1185?
1185, the sea battle at Dano or Guillotined PR family.
Huh. Alright. In 1362, Muhammad VI, ruler of Granada, killed with a lance personally by Peter I of Castile, along with 36 followers, and his head sent to Muhammad V, or 27th of April. So that happened either today or the 27th. That's odd. What else happened?
1607, 80 Years' War, the Dutch fleet destroyed an anchored Spanish fleet at Gibraltar.
Dang. That's embarrassing. In 1644, transition from Ming to Qing, the Chongzhen Emperor, the last emperor of Ming China, committed suicide during a peasant rebellion led by Li Zhenxing. Dang.
Well, also, in 1707, a coalition of Britain, the Netherlands, and Portugal is defeated by the Franco-Spanish army at Alcama, Spain, in the War of the Spanish Succession.
Ah, so I think that's when Spain was becoming independent. Like, I don't really know much about that area of European history, But I know that France and everything, they were around before Italy, before Germany, before Spain. I think as the Gauls and everything, and the different Frankish kingdoms after the fall of the Roman Empire and everything. I may be wrong. I don't know. Like I don't know a lot, but anyway, in 1792, La Marseillaise, the French national anthem, was composed by Claude Joseph Rougat de Lisle.
That's nice.
Cool.
In 1792, Highwayman Nicholas J. Thier becomes the first person executed by guillotine. Oh my God.
Dang. Well, that's what happens when you stick your neck out.
Imagine being the first person to die in a certain thing.
That's pretty interesting.
Who was the first person to die by hanging? Who was the first person to die by firing squad?
That is, what? Like, let's see if there's a list. First list of first people to die by various means. List of people by cause of death. List of unusual deaths. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna. That is an interesting thing to look for, but not during a show. So remind me after the show to look for that. Let's move on up into 1829, in which Charles Fremantle arrived in HMS Challenger off the coast of modern-day Western Australia prior to declaring the Swan River colony for the British Empire. What's up?
Who knows? We could probably make a show about that.
Yeah. Actually, that is a good idea. Like, the first person to die by this and that, and then give some information and backstory, and, that's a good idea. We should probably make a weekly show about that or something,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What happened in 1846?
1846. Thornton affair. Open conflict begins over the disputed border of Texas, triggering the Mexican-American War. Mm-hmm. Texas Revolution and shit.
Yep. In 1859, British and French engineers broke ground for the Suez Canal. Look at that.
Nice.
And in
1862, American Civil War forces under U.S. Admiral David Farragut demand the surrender of the Confederate city of New Orleans, Louisiana.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Coming for you. 2 years later... What's up?
I don't mind, because they're union.
Yeah. 2 years later, in 1864, also during the American Civil War, the Battle of Marks Mills saw a force of 8,000 Confederate soldiers attack 1,800 Union soldiers and a large number of wagon teamsters, causing the deaths of, or killing or wounding 1,500 Union combatants. So, dang. That's intense.
Yeah. Also, 1882, French and Vietnamese troops clashed in Torquay, where Commandant Henri Revere seized the citadel of Hanoi with a small force of Marine infantry.
Yep. Go Marines! In 1898, during the Spanish-American War, the United States Congress declared that a state of war between the U.S. and Spain has existed since April 21st. We had spoken about this 4 days ago, when the American naval blockade of the Spanish colony of Cuba began.
Nice. And in 1901, New York becomes the first state to require automobile license plates.
Ah. So, we can blame them for all that.
Yeah. I know the perfect plate I want for New York. My name.
Yeah, Muffin has a custom plate, and I have an idea for a custom plate, but unfortunately my idea requires a California plate, and I don't want to be here anymore, so, oh well. The last article was a short one, so why don't you take this next one here?
Sure. So, in 1915, World War I, the Battle of Gallipoli begins, and the invasion of the Turkish Gallipoli Peninsula by British, French, Indian, Newfoundland, Australian, and New Zealand troops begin with landings at Anzac Cove and Cape Helles. And everybody's going after that area.
Yeah, the Battle of Gallipoli was a very important battle in the First World War, and it unfortunately was a failure and a disaster for the Allies. The Central Powers, which was Germany, Italy, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, Czechoslovakia, all that stuff, all those people, they won that battle. They pushed us off. But we took a lot of lessons from that thing and implemented into another invasion, which ultimately did fail, but then, about a couple years later, then we had D-Day in 1944. So, yeah, we used to learn from our mistakes. But yeah, that's a lot. British, French, Indian, Newfoundland, Australian, and New Zealand, that's a lot of different countries involved. Jumping on up into 1920, at the San Remo Conference, the principal Allied powers of World War I adopted a resolution to determine the allocation of Class A League of Nations mandates for administration of the former Ottoman-ruled lands of the Middle East, which turned into Turkey. So, what happened in 1938?
In 1938, the U.S. Supreme Court delivers its opinion on Erie Railroad Company versus Tompkins and overturns a century of federal common law.
Dang. Why don't you take this next one here, because it has a word that I'm not allowed to say because of this. So.
1994, 1944, the United Negro College Fund is incorporated. It's interesting.
Yeah. 1 year later, in 1945, Elba Day. The United States and Soviet reconnaissance troops met in Torgau and Strela along the River Elbe, cutting the Wehrmacht of Nazi Germany in two. Yeah, I think that's the famous photograph of, the two armies meeting at that bridge.
Yeah. Also, 1945, Liberation Day in Italy. The National Liberation Committee for Northern Italy calls for a general uprising against the German occupation and the Italian Socialist Republic.
Yep.
So yeah. I'm guessing this is before Mussolini gets hanged out.
Let's see here. When did Mussolini die? April 28th. So yeah, 3 days from now we're going to report on that. Also in 1945, the last German troops retreated from Finland's soil in Lapland, ending the Lapland War. Military acts of Second World War then ended in Finland. So, nice.
Yeah, 3 days until the death of Benito Mussolini.
Yep.
Holy shit. Also, in 1951, Korean War, Southern Chinese forces are forced to withdraw after heavy fighting with UN forces primarily made up of Australian and Canadian troops at the Battle of Kapyong.
When you think about it, I would not want to fight Australia or Canada, because first off, the United States have only fought Canada once and we lost. And Australia, all they gotta do is throw spiders at us,
Not just any spider. They can throw huntsmen on us.
Yeah, I know, right? All the while, Canada is slapping hockey pucks covered in maple syrup to attract their bullet ants, from Australia. Man, dude, you get those two countries together, they can be a formidable force. So yeah. Anyway,
hey, we're cutting your supply of maple syrup, eh?
Yeah. Moving on up into 1953, Francis Crick and James Watson published, quote, Molecular Structure of Nucleic Acids, a structure for deoxyribose nucleic acid, end quote, describing the double helix structure of DNA. So yeah, that's what DNA stands for, deoxyribose nucleic acid. So,
Nice. Also, 1954, the first practical solar cell is publicly demonstrated by Bell Telephone Laboratories.
Nice. Solar panel, all the way back in the 50s, dude. Like.
Yep. All the way. Also, in 1959, the St. Lawrence Seaway, linking the North American Great Lakes and the Atlantic Ocean, officially opened to shipping.
Nice. So we have two things: the start of the breaking ground of the Suez Canal, and then this thing officially opening. So, like, major waterways of trade and, exports, imports, goods, services, people, all that stuff. 365 days later, in 1960, the United States Navy submarine USS Triton completed the first submerged circumnavigation of the globe. Can you imagine going around the whole planet underwater without breaking surface once? Like that? That's intense, dude.
And that's crazy.
And then in 1961, Robert Noyce was granted a patent for an integrated circuit. Dang.
Nice. Also, in 1972, Vietnam War began. Offensive, the North Vietnamese 320th Division forces 5,000 South Vietnamese troops to retreat and traps about 2,500 others southwest of Guillotined.
Dang, that's not good.
No.
2 years later, 1974, during the Carnation Revolution, about Carnation, the drink, a leftist military coup in Portugal overthrew the authoritarian conservative Estado Novo regime and established a democratic government. Alright. Why don't you take the next two here?
The next two.
Yeah, 1980s.
Oh, yeah. 1980, the first 1980, announcement of the U.S. hostage rescue bungle bungle in Iran.
Oh, that's not good.
You know that Iran hostage crisis.
Yeah, the bungle, something screwed up.
Also, 1980, 146 people were killed when Dan Air Flight 1080 crashed near Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife, Canary Islands.
Dang. In 1981, more than 100 workers were exposed to radiation during repairs of the Tsuruga nuclear power plant in Japan. Ooh.
So Fukushima wasn't the first time that actually happened.
Oh, no. Like, yeah. 1982, Israel completed its withdrawal from the Sinai Peninsula per the Camp David Accords. Good. Israel really needs to stop attacking its neighbors. Stop being so hostile and aggressive.
Also, 1983, Cold War American schoolgirl Samantha Smith is invited to visit the Soviet Union by its leader, Yuri Andropov, after he reads her letter in which she expresses fears about nuclear war.
Huh. Nowadays, that would never happen because they'd probably, take the kid hostage and be like, hey, you want your American kid back? That'll be 7 billion rubles or something.
But they come here. Relax, drink vodka.
Yeah.
Vodka is good for you.
Also in 1983, Pioneer 10 traveled beyond Pluto's orbit. Nice.
Nice.
And then in 1990, Violeta Chamorro took office as the president of Nicaragua, the first woman to hold this position. Cool. So even Nicaragua is ahead of us in the game of female leaders. So.
Well, the one woman leader was a bitch who we're gonna get, and she lost fucking twice.
Ah.
No, for real. She lost in 2008. She lost in 2016.
Oh, you're talking about Hillary?
Yes.
Well, she's not even a human. I don't count her. None of those people are human, especially Mark Zuck, dude. Like, who the hell puts barbecue sauce on a bookshelf? What an absolute animal.
I do.
Well, you're nuts. So.
Sometimes I want to. Sometimes I want to be creative when I yank.
Use barbecue sauce as a bookmark.
No, sometimes I want to be creative when I yank.
Oh,
so
God.
sometimes I want to be spicy.
God.
Barbecue sauce.
We don't need to go that way. 3 years later, in 1993, Russia elected Boris Yeltsin its leader. Nice.
Yep. 2001, President Bush, President George W. Bush pledges U.S. military support in the event of a Chinese attack on Taiwan.
Oh, that's relevant.
Wow, even he fucking acknowledges Taiwan.
Yep.
Even George W. Bush acknowledges Taiwan.
Yeah. 4 years later, in 2004, the March for Women's Rights, for Women's Lives, brought between 500,000 and 800,000 protesters, mostly pro-choice, to Washington, D.C. to protest the Partial Birth Abortion Act, or Abortion Ban Act of 2003, and other restrictions on abortion. You know, here's the thing, okay? If you're someone who supports abortion, don't have sex. Okay, it's that easy. Keep your legs closed and practice some basic humanity of, like, being responsible for your actions. If you don't want to have a child, don't get your dick wet. It's that easy.
Or take it in the ass.
That too. You know? You have 3 holes, why are you only using one of them? You know, come on.
God damn it.
Anyway, what happened in 2005?
2005, Bulgaria and Romania signed the Treaty of Accession 2005 to join the European Union.
Ah, nice.
Choice.
Also in 2005, the final piece of the obelisk of Axiom was returned to Ethiopia after having been stolen by the invading Italian army in 1937. See, it's not just the Museum of Britain who takes shit. Damn Italians.
This time it's Italians. Like, Mussolini seen them like, yeah, I got to have this for my collection. Take it.
What happened 2 years later? Oh no!
2007, Boris Yeltsin's funeral, the first to be sanctioned by the Russian Orthodox Church for a head of state. Funeral of Emperor Alexander III in 1894. Yeah, he passed away. 2007.
On the same calendar date in 1993 to when he got elected. So 1993 to 2007. That's 14 years. Oh dang. Moving on up into 2011, at least 300 people were killed in the deadliest tornado outbreak in the southern United States since the 1974 super outbreak. Dang.
Yeah, man.
That sucks, pun not intended. Or
I know.
It always is intended, but yeah, still. That sucks.
In 2012, the United Kingdom dips back into recession after the economy shrank 0.2% in the first quarter of 2012.
Dang, it didn't take much. They were really on the skimmy right there. 0.2%, hurt their, they went back into a recession. Jesus. 2013, the United Kingdom reopened its embassy in Somalia after 22 years. Dang.
Yep. In 2013, 38 people were killed in a psychiatric hospital fire in Ramsky, Russia.
Jeez. 2013, 100-year anniversary of the Gallipoli Peninsula landings in Turkey by Anzac forces during World War I. Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yep, Australia, New Zealand, Canadian, I think American.
Let me scroll up back here. It was 1915, so but too far. British, French, Indian, Newfoundland, Australian, and New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all showed up.
The U.S. didn't show up until 1917. Not 2000. That's a little way late.
In 2015, nearly 9,100 are killed after a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake strikes Nepal.
9,100 people dead. How do you count that, dude? Like, just... That's insane. 3 years later, in 2018, Indian religious leader Asaram Bapu was sentenced to life for raping a 16-year-old girl. Good. He should be sentenced to death. Well, first off, he should be gelded and castrated and all that stuff. Make him a eunuch, make him suffer until he dies. Doing something like that to a kid. Horrible. Also,
2018. Also, 2018, Danish defender Peter Madsen found guilty of killing and desecrating the body of journalist Kim Wall aboard submarine, sentenced to life imprisonment.
What the hell? That's weird. Submarine murder. 1 year later, in 2019, former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden announced his campaign for president via video. Angry. Not happy about that. Also in 2019, Microsoft became the third U.S. firm to be listed with a market worth of $1 trillion after Amazon and Apple. Or Apple and Amazon. They can all go screw themselves. Boycott them all, people.
2019, thousands marched in Khartoum, Sudan, calling for a civil rule.
Civilian rule, yes. By the people, for the people. We are the people. We are the nation. Not the government. We are the nation. And that's what people got to figure out real quick. Why don't you take this next article here?
Which one?
The cyclone.
Okay. 2019 cyclone killer strikes Mozambique, winds of 220 kilometers, which is 140 miles per hour, killing at least 38 people and damaging nearly 35,000 homes.
Dang, dude. Can you imagine 140 mile per hour wind? Like, that'll blow you away.
Pretty much, Hurricane Ida.
Yeah, you've been there. Last but not least, in 2019 as well, more than 1,600 civilians were killed in a U.S.-led coalition air and land strike on Raqqa in 2017, according to Amnesty International and monetary group Air Wars. So they weren't killed in 2019, they were killed in 2017. So this is just the release of what we found, so okay. Before we get into bursts and deaths here, any articles pique your interest today? A lot piqued mine.
Many.
Yeah. I don't even know where to start. You know, Boris Yeltsin, gets two things, Pioneer 10.
Yeah, Boris Yeltsin's funeral, the obelisk being returned.
Gallipoli, can't forget Gallipoli.
Yeah.
The first practical solar cell.
And there's so many.
I know. Oh, yeah, the DNA thing. Published the structure of DNA. Man. Why don't you start us off in the deaths here?
In 1241, Louis IX of France.
I think it was 1214.
Oh, 1214, Louis IX of France.
In 1287, we have Roger Mortimer, 1st Earl of March, English politician who is a Lord Lieutenant of Ireland.
1599, Oliver Cromwell, English general and politician who was the Lord Protector of Great Britain.
1621, Roger Boyle, 1st Earl of Orrery, an English soldier and politician.
1666, Johann Heinrich Buttstedt, German organist and composer.
What a last name, Buttstedt. 1725, Augustus Kebel, 1st Viscount Kebel, was born on the States. He was an English admiral and politician. And then 1851, Leopoldo Alas, Spanish author, critic, and academic.
1854, Charles Sumner Tainter, American engineer and inventor.
Let me look up what he invented, because that's something else I want to start looking up. Inventions. Charles Summer Taylor. He was a scientific instrument maker, engineer, and inventor, best known for his collaborations with Alexander Graham Bell, Christopher Bell, Alexander's father-in-law, Gardner Hubbard, and for significant improvements to Thomas Edison's phonograph, resulting in the graphophone, one version of which was the first dictaphone. Let's see here. He has patents, unpublished work. He has a lot of patents here. I'm going to add this guy's wiki to the underbar. As I do, why don't you take the next article here?
Damn it. Hold up.
1862.
1862, Edward Grey, first Viscount Grey of Baldon, English Orpington Lodgers and politician who was the Secretary of State of Foreign Affairs and Commonwealth Affairs.
Yeah. 1872, we have C.B. Fry, who was an English cricketer, footballer, educator, and politician, and I'm going to look up his full name. C.B. Fry, Charles Burgess Fry. Okay. Who else was born on this date?
1873, Howard Garris, American author who created the Uncle Wiggily series of children's stories.
That sounds like a Disney alert right there. Uncle Wiggily. That's creepy. 1874, we have Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian businessman and inventor who developed Marconi's Law. What is Marconi's Law? Marconi's Law is the relation between length of antennas and maximum signaling distance of radio transmissions. Interesting.
Okay. 1909, William Farina, U.S. architect, decided the Trans-America Pyramid.
You cut out when you said architect, but let's see here. What's Trans-America Pyramid? Oh, that building. That's the pointy one in San Francisco. All right. Let's see, who else was born on this date? 1910, Rapatha Awatiri, a New Zealand interpreter, military leader, politician, and murderer. That went off the side rail right there.
1916, Jerry Barber, U.S. golfer.
Man, he did not live up to his last name at all, did he? Born a barber, died a golfer. 1924, Franco Mannino, an Italian pianist, composer, director, and playwright.
1936, Hick Aaron, Surinamese banker, politician who was the first prime minister of the Republic of Suriname.
Wow. 1940, Al Pacino, a U.S. actor and director. Wasn't he the guy in Scarface?
Yes, he was.
Scarface. Who else was born today?
1941, Bertrand Taverner, French actor and director, producer, and screenwriter.
1947, we have Kathy Smith, was born on this date. She is a Canadian singer and a drug dealer. Some of these people, man, like they're like, normal homicide person. Like what the, where did they switch?
Also,
1954.
Roisin Shortall, Irish educator and politician.
Was he short or was he tall? Let's look him up.
Medium.
Yeah, I guess so. Cancels each other out. Rosen short, tall, height. Let's see here. Okay. Rosen short, tall. Age 68 years. Father, blah blah. Now I don't care about anything. What's his height? Unknown. Great. So nobody knows his height. He's just short and tall at the same time. Schrodinger's measurement. 1955, Zev Siegel, a U.S. businessman who co-founded Starbucks. Boo, Starbucks, overpriced crap.
1961, Danish Diesel, Indian-U.S. failed journalist and two-bit arbiter with Cheeto dust upon his lips.
Yeah, I unfortunately went and saw a movie with my dad from this guy, Dinesh D'Souza, and he compared Trump to Abraham Lincoln and to George Washington, and I'm not a liberal, but the amount of what this guy did with involving Donald Trump in this movie, he's just so much Cheeto dust is around his lips, so much, just so dripping, Anyway, 1964, Hank Azaria, a U.S. actor, voice actor, comedian, and producer.
You talking about the guy who made the show thing about the Clintons?
I don't know. My dad and I went back in 2015 or something, or 2017. I don't remember. It was a while ago, and went and saw this guy's movie, and I damn near was about to go ask for my money back. It was just such a Cheeto sucking movie. I don't care about anything else this guy has done. Lost all my respect. Anyway, 1970, we have Jason Lee, a U.S. skateboarder, actor, comedian, and producer.
He played My Name is Earl.
I never really saw that.
It's funny.
Yeah. It's white trash, honestly.
Hey, you know what else? It's 1970? Earl Hickey. That's the character's name in My Name is Earl.
Ah, okay. Who was born in 1980?
1980, Benjamin Johnston, Scottish drummer and singer.
Singer? I thought he was a songwriter.
Songwriter.
Ah.
Yeah.
In 1980 as well, we have James Johnston, a Scottish bass player and songwriter. Sounds like twins.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, that's the end of births today. Moving on to deaths, starting us off in 501, we have Rusticus, a saint and archbishop of Lyon. Sounds very oxidated.
Yep. Also, 775, Mbet the 7th Baratuni, Armenian prince.
775 as well, we have Menushke the 6th Mamikonian, an Armenian prince as well. Sounds like they both got assassinated. Actually, do we have any articles in 775? Let me scroll up here. 775, yeah. Okay, yeah, the Battle of Berivan put an end to Armenian rebellion. Okay, so they must have died in that battle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both did.
Yeah.
Also, 1397, Thomas Holland, second Earl of Kent. English nobleman. Oh my God, Tom Holland.
1744, Andreas Celsius, Swedish astronomer, physicist, and mathematician. But did he invented the Celsius temperature?
I'm guessing so.
Who invented Celsius temperature? Andreas Celsius. Yeah. Who invented Celsius temperature? Alright. Who else died on the state?
In 1875, the 12th Dalai Lama.
Yeah. Let me take the next one as well.
In 1890, Crowfoot, Canadian tribal chief.
Moving on up into the next century, in 1906, we have John Knowles Paine, a U.S. composer and educator. But did he know Paine?
Also, 1913, Joseph Alfred Archibald, Canadian bishop.
1928, we have Pyotr Nikolaevich Wrangel, a Russian general.
1936, Walid Ali Khan Panini, Bengali aristocrat, and philanthropist.
Con! 1995, Lev Shankovsky, a Ukrainian military historian. Oh man, dude, I bet he's rolling in his grave right now.
2005, Swami Radhagadana, Indian marketing educator.
2009, B. Arthur, U.S. actress and singer. And wasn't she the old lady that Brian dated for a bit?
I think so.
Let me see here. B. Arthur, Family Guy. Oh, no, it wasn't. But she does make an appearance in Family Guy. But it wasn't the same old lady. Okay. Anyway, 2010, we have Alan Sillitoe, English novelist, short story writer, essayist, and poet. I wonder if his toe. Why was this toe so silly?
2018, May Deha Garu, Pakistani actress, playwright, and director of social theater and women's rights activist.
Now, don't they not have any women's rights in Pakistan or anything? So, like how could you be an actress, playwright, and director of a social theater, or have any power akin to that in anything, and then still claim for women's rights? Like, you're leading things, dude. Like, you have rights. Like, it makes no sense. That's why I'm thinking if this is like just another part of the source.
In Pakistan, pretty much, she's probably given that, but she may be lucky, but others are not.
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about Pakistan other than that they harbored bin Laden. But anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, check the description for any links that you may be interested in, which also include
Show TV on Twitch
and everything Omni Coalition. For your dose of passive events daily, we stream every day between 12 noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Time.
2 to 5 Central.
For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
I am me.
And you are you. Until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles. Let's go, Brandon.